guys, have you cleaned your cell phones lately?
You know what? I do it every day. First of all, we should introduce Josh is here. We have a new person here.
We have Josh. Josh is David's son and the producer on the show who makes all the magic happen behind the scenes. And so we love him so much. And today was the day that we just needed him on because we are interviewing Dave. Dave is going to be our guest. And I felt like I just needed Josh here to support. And like, we need to ask him all the questions because I won't have them all. But do you clean your cell phone?
I clean myself. I'm a germ freak, Nicole. One thing about me is I'm constantly washing my hands. I'm washing my face. I clean myself and I clean my computer. I'm that guy that puts the Perel stuff on your hands after I put gas in the car. Like I am. If you watch my car, I clean my steering wheel. I don't know where the other guy's hands have been. I'm that guy. Like I'm always super clean.
Josh, you?
Multiple times a day, I clean my phone. Every single day. I'm a clean freak. I always said I grew up with two moms because my mom takes a long time to get ready. My dad takes even longer to get ready. So my dad's a clean freak, and so am I. I was raised in the household where everything is always spotless. It's one of my favorite things about me, actually, is I'm very clean.
Oh.
Well, your background, everything looks extremely clean. Everything looks clean.
You know what? I am clean. My house is clean. Everything is clean. But I forgot about my phone. I just forgot about the phone. I honestly, truly forgot about the phone. So I threw my phone case away yesterday. I pulled it off. I saw the story on the news and I was like, oh. So I pulled the phone case off, threw it away, wiped down the phone. But anyway.
No, it's just the way we are. I think I raised a kid with OCD is what I did.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, ask my girlfriend. I'm the cleanest person she knows. So, Nicole, if you think about it, though, with your cell phone, how many dirty things are you putting your phone on? Everything. Everything you put your phone on is probably dirty. So why would you not clean it?
It's in my pocket all the time. It doesn't leave my pocket.
Really? I put my phone on the desk, on everywhere, so I clean it all the time, especially the gym. You got to clean it after the gym.
The gym? I don't go to the gym. In my pocket. It's in my pocket. It doesn't leave my pocket. So I feel like, how dirty is it? Maybe dirty with my hand.
Okay, I got to ask you now that you said the pocket. Are you a back pocket cell phone girl? Are you that person? See, as a guy, for me at least, I've never ever put my phone in my back pocket. And Josh, I don't know about you, but I'm always afraid of breaking it. Same. You never did it either, Josh, right?
Never, ever.
Is that only a girl thing? Yeah, because I'm always afraid. What if I sit and break my phone? I've never ever put my phone in my back
big
pocket.
that you're gonna break your phone.
Nah. Another thing about me, I have no ass. It's not gonna happen.
Oh my God, Josh, let's hear from you.
Side pocket, right pocket specifically, because I'm right-handed. You got to be in the pocket that's on your dominant hand. I'm very specific, Nicole. We barely know each other, but I'm very specific.
Guy puts his phone in his front pocket. Oh my God, me and you are breaking up.
I got a question for you guys because I'm never on the show. I always have a million questions. Both of you are pretty attractive human beings, like we can tell, right? Was it difficult going from being a younger person to a middle-aged person with your looks and everything? Is that like a hard transition? Because I'm 29 years old. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Is it?
Yeah, it is super hard, Dave. What do you want to say?
Well, no, I think Nicole looks great. I mean, hell, it's funny. I've watched Nicole grow up, so I've never, I mean, I know what she looked like when she probably thought she looked her best, and I see her now, and I think she looks fantastic. I think many of the people that listen and watch the show would say the same thing, how great Nicole looks. So she's in a different situation than me.
He's not asking how great I look. He's asking how you feel about like aging.
Here's the difference is you obviously get compared to you at your best every single day. I mean, there are people that probably Google you just to say, how is she holding up? I hate to say it. I do it to celebrities all the time. For me, though, I think people always say to me, man, you've aged extremely well. And I think the reason is I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a big smoker, the whole deal. So, I'm 52. Josh is 29 right now. So I was 22 when I had Josh. And but as far as aging, I'm fearful of aging and wrinkles and the whole deal that comes with it. I don't want to be that guy that goes, man, that guy really hit the wall bad. I don't want to be that guy. I do have an ego. I'm not going to lie when it comes to that. I'm afraid of aging.
Okay, so Josh, I look at myself like in the weirdest, worst light.
Why?
Like I'm
purpose?
in reality with myself, right? And I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, this is where we are. This is where we're at. And I'm not mad at it because this body took me through a lot. Like we traveled a long road and it helped me up. And so I'm feeling like I appreciate it. So I'm not mad at it. It's aged. It's definitely it's a different vessel than I was used to, but I love it and I appreciate it. And I hope you do too.
Yeah. So no, well, I don't eat terribly. I mean, there are times where I'll sit there and I'll say to Josh, let's go get a Tommy's Chili Burger. It's my favorite place to go with Josh,
Oh,
you know.
me too. What
You
Tommy's
know?
is your favorite? Oh, it's mine too.
Yeah. Tommy's, like literally if I was on death row and you had one last meal, it's Tommy's.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
I want the entire jug of the chili with the tomato on top.
Yeah.
And the cheese. I don't forget the burger. Just give me the entire jug of chili.
Yeah. That's that. Josh and I are in the same
Yeah.
boat. That's our thing. It's Tommy's is our thing. And so and it's funny. I introduced it to him. Thank goodness that he loves it too. But I don't eat terribly overall. I don't drink a ton. I'm not a smoker. I'm not that guy that does all the things they say that are bad for you. I mean, I drink, but I don't drink by myself, kind of a deal. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit at home and drink. But if friends come over, yeah, of course I'll drink with them. But I'm just never been that person. I don't have a lot of bad habits with that. I work out all the time.
Do you do heroin by yourself?
No. Don't. All my spoons don't have burn marks on them. They're all good. Spoons are good. None of them are bent weird. No, everything's good. There's nothing like that. And so but yeah, wasn't ever really big into drugs. I was always afraid something bad would happen to me. So that's why I never did it. As I'm a huge sports fan, obviously, and when I was a kid, there was a guy named Lynn Bias who died, who was the second overall pick in the NBA draft. And the guy had a great body, and they said he was the next Michael Jordan. And 2 days after being drafted by the Boston Celtics, he did cocaine and died on the spot. And that scared the shit out of me.
That's not real. That's not real. You don't do cocaine and then die. That's not a thing. Bullshit.
That guy, they said did, and I was like, well, that guy looks like that and died. I have no chance. That's all I kept thinking was that guy's in better shape than me.
That's not real.
That's not
real.
You can die from cocaine.
I don't think he died.
That's what they said. He died of a heart attack.
He did like a crazy amount. Yeah, he did like a crazy amount that would kill him, like in Pulp Fiction. The reason I asked though about aging is because like I said, I'm 29, so I'm not like middle age yet. But I see two sides. I see people like yourselves that look great, and then I see people that kind of give up, and it's their decision. But I'm always interested in why people decide to go one way or the other. Why do you let all the gray come out if that's what you want, or why do you try to keep yourself in shape? What's the motivation behind that? Obviously, Nicole, you're famous. So you want to look good all the time. People are looking at you more than most people. But I'm just something I've always been curious about, why people take care of themselves or why they don't.
Well, that's a really great question. And I think that it's not necessarily like something that you choose. I think when you're happy on the inside, it shows and it glows on the outside. I was really unhappy a few years ago because I was coming forth with like some stuff and some stress and things I had to deal with. And I felt like my body was holding on to stuff. Like it was holding on to weight, was holding on to stress. It was holding on to like sadness. And it showed on my outer body. And I think that since I let all of that go and I've been doing the work that I'm supposed to be doing, I feel like that shows on the outer body. I don't know. And I just hate it because I'm the same person the whole time, right? I'm the same person. So you can look at me a few years ago and I was sad and I was frustrated and I was like not healthy and you can see it. And now today, like, I don't know. I just feel like a happiness, Josh. It's about like being happy. It's about like always staying true to like what you feel inside.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter about your dad. It doesn't matter about your fiance. It doesn't matter about anybody else. It's like always about you.
I I agree. I think your energy that you bring out radiates, right? If negative energy, you might
That's
look
right.
more older or tired. If you're a happy, optimistic person like both of you guys are, it makes you look younger and feel younger. I'm always told that my dad looks like my older brother, and
Yeah.
I would think that's an insult. How old do I look? But then I just realized my dad just looks really young. So I take it,
No.
yeah. So I just hope I look like him when I'm older. And the crazy thing about my dad, Nicole, is he only sleeps about 3 hours every night. So the fact that he looks as good as he does without sleeping is insane to me.
Well, I only sleep 4 hours.
Wow.
My watch congratulates me when I actually get to 4 hours. Like, do you guys have the Apple Watch? Do you guys do
Yes.
that thing? Am I the only
Yeah,
psycho?
no, I do. Yep.
Okay, so when I make 4 hours, it like congratulates me every day.
That's
Um,
funny.
yeah, it's the truth. Um, this is where we're at, and it's about what works for you, right? Like what works for you, and like what makes you happy, and what like gets your gears going. Because for me, um, I had to just step out by myself. I had to be by myself. I had to like get out here and like do weird things and do stuff all by myself. And Josh, you'll find the same thing. And Dave, I mean, you found what makes you happy. It was marriage, it was life, it was kids. Like, so everybody has a different calling, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. No, it's yeah, Josh is doing great. Josh is the thing I'm most proud of in my entire life is my son and our relationship that we have. When growing up, I was just real quick, just a little quick background on me. Born in Los Angeles, but my parents who lived in Beverly Hills for 35 years, one day got in the car and they drove to Nashville, Tennessee. It was the Beverly Hillbillies in reverse, and they drove cross country. And I lived there for 9 years, and I have an older sister, and she's great, and my mom's great, and my dad was one of those guys that grew up with the attitude that a dad works and he provides. And so we didn't have a father-son relationship like the one I have with Josh. Like the one I have with Josh is a dream scenario. When I found out I was having a son, and Josh is my oldest son, that I was like, I hope we're best friends. I hope he looks at me, wants to spend time with me. And so it's a dream scenario. It's by far the thing I'm most proud of, the relationship I have with him, because I never had that with my dad. When I was 15, I moved back to Los Angeles by myself, and my parents and my sister stayed back in the South. And then I came back to LA and lived with my grandmother, finished up high school. Just jumping real fast through, went to San Diego State, met my wife freshman year, was engaged at 19, married at 21, had Josh at 22. So things are going, kind of pretty fast. Stuff that usually life decisions that I wouldn't recommend to anyone my age, because chances are they aren't gonna work out. It's a lot of pressure to put on a group of people that don't have any money, is basically it. And I always wanted to be a pro athlete, Nicole. And when I realized that wasn't going to happen, I got into sports broadcasting, because that way I was still close to the games. And worked for ESPN for 30 years, and my favorite job was I got to cover the Lakers, my dream team, for 10 years through the Kobe Shaq years, and had a great time doing that. Didn't pay very well, but at the same time I was hanging out with the Lakers. I couldn't believe it. Number one, I couldn't afford a ticket to the game. Two is I was going to the games for free, and then going there early and talking to those guys and staying late and talking to those guys and meeting other players like Michael Jordan and hanging out with all those people. So
Well,
it
wait a minute.
was
So wait a
interesting.
minute. Let's talk about something, because
Yeah.
let's talk about because Josh isn't your only kid.
Yes. We'll get to Jake. We'll get to Jake. I'll get to Jake in just a little bit. But
Oh, you
so
want
my dream of my career was to host a talk show. And at 27 years old, I was given a talk show with my buddy Jeff, and we were working CBS radio. And it was a station called KFMB, which is a big station in San Diego in a major market. And people kept saying, this doesn't happen to people your age. You have to be much older. Dr. Laura got her start at the same exact station. And you're going, things are going really well. I don't know if you ever do this, Nicole, but in my mind, I try to think about what was the best time of my life. And I remember catching myself between 27 and 32 going, right now is the best it could be, because We had Josh, Jake was on the way, and then I had Jake at 27 years old, and everything's perfect. I had 2 sons, and I was always afraid of having a daughter because I knew I'd be too protective of her. And not saying I wouldn't raise a strong woman, but I'd be so afraid of somebody hurting my daughter that I think I'd probably end up in jail. Be honest with you. And so, but I think I caught myself while I was experiencing the best moment of my life. I think I knew it between 27, 32 years old, that going, it doesn't get any better than this. Everybody's healthy, have my dream job, everything's absolutely perfect. And there's one street that in San Diego that I passed right before I drove into the lot at KFMB, and the street was called Opportunity. And I always say in life, all you can ask for is an opportunity. And I always look at that street sign every single day. And it was so weird that was the last sign I saw before I drove into my dream job at the time. And everything was going really well. And this is where my life kind of changed. Nicole, was I'm I love sports, love the Dodgers, love the Lakers, and Josh started playing Little League, and I was covering the NBA Finals between the Lakers and the Pistons. And I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to be. My son has a baseball game right now. I want to be at his game. And I started to realize, Kobe and Shaq aren't family. Josh is family. I want to see him grow and realize his dreams, and I want to be part of it. And it changed from there. I stopped covering the NBA, and I stopped doing all that stuff to be around him more and just be the best dad I could be, because I thought I missed out on having the dad that I always wanted. I wanted to be the perfect dad. And that's what I still take the most pride in. Am I a good dad? That's what I want to be more than anything. It doesn't come down to money or anything else. Thank you. It doesn't come down to money.
I mean, Josh should answer that, not me.
I mean, yeah, he's the best. He's the best dad that anybody could ask for. He's the dad to a lot of kids that don't have great dads. You know, he coaches, and he's going to get into all that, but he coaches a lot of kids who don't have father figures. And there's a guy that I'm friends with that asked to be a part of our family legally, wanted to be part of our family because he looked at my dad in such a sense. But yeah, my dad's the best. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better dad.
And we do have those situations, and it's sad when kids feel like they need a dad like that. And so, this kid that Josh was talking about, he used to ask us every year on Christmas, would say, what do you want for Christmas, Julian? And he would say, I want you to adopt me. That's what I want. And every year he'd ask for the same thing.
That's fucking crazy. My daughter said to me the other day, she just because we don't talk about it a lot, because I feel like I do a really good job as a mom and filling in the that outer space. And somebody said something about a dad, and then she goes, well, I've never even met mine. And I just
break your heart.
Fuck yeah, it breaks my heart. Yeah, it breaks my heart, and it makes me want to fucking break his balls. Yeah. And and then I sit there and I go, but look how strong we are. Like, look how good we are. Like, look how fine we are.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I would say all the time, the two best things, whether you're religious or not, two best things God ever created are dogs and moms. And I know it feels weird to say it in that category, but dogs and moms are the only thing that will put their lives ahead of your life.
I'll go with cats and moms, but whatever.
So as I got into being around Josh and his friends and coaching and coaching a lot, I think I still hold the record in the community for coaching 42 Little League teams. And, I'm a high school baseball coach now, and travel ball and all that stuff that got into sports. And Josh was a basketball, football, baseball player. And I was lucky. People always go, man, your team's always finished in first place. It helped out a lot. I'll be honest with you, that my kids were two of the best players in those sports. So, we won a lot of games because my kids were extremely talented. But the kid we were talking about that asked to be adopted by us, who, didn't have a dad in his life, by the way, he's a professional baseball player for Cleveland now. He made it. And so it's really cool. So we always sports has always been a big part of our lives and Josh's friends and Jake's friends' lives. And so I had Jake at 27. We started this travel ball team up called the California Bears in 2010. And we basically, Nicole, we took a bunch of kids in the community that other people didn't put on their travel teams, the elite travel teams that had been around for a long time. and we lost a ton of games. I mean, we couldn't win. We couldn't even finish games. We're getting blown out by so much. And then we played Larry King's team, came down to San Diego. We played his team, and Larry King paid for these expensive coaches, and we beat his team. And Larry King pulls me aside. He goes, "Man, you're a great coach." He goes, "These kids play really hard for you." And that was really cool because my dad was a Larry King fan. And after that, we started winning all the time, and we'd play 100 games a year. We'd win 90 of them. We won all the time. And so those group of kids, by the way, that nobody wanted, 13 of those kids became professional baseball players. It's like a Disney movie. It's insane.
It's like
You
the
know,
bad news bears. No, it's
yes.
real, you know?
Yeah,
This is,
it was.
yeah, this is the stuff. It's the spirit, right?
Yeah, it was. And so everything's going really well. As we said, you try and pick out the best. For me, at least, I was trying to pick out the best moments of my life, and everything changed in 2017. And before that, I remember Josh, who was, Josh was a very good athlete. He had Division I, was able to play Division I sports and two sports. He was a Division I baseball player at UC Riverside, and then said, "Guess what? I'm done playing baseball. I'm gonna go back to football." And in my head, I'm thinking this is a mistake. And University of Alabama offered Josh a roster spot on their team, and I grew up a huge Alabama fan. For me, it was a dream come true. And he was actually at the University of North Carolina. It's getting all settled there, and then he gets a call from Alabama saying, "Hey, we have a spot for you if you want to take it. We hear it coming back to football." And it was like, if you're a Yankee fan, your kid's being told he's playing shortstop for the Yankees, and Josh is a quarterback going to Alabama.
Wait, Josh, did you ever care what your dad thought?
More than anybody.
I love that.
Yeah.
To this day, I was on cloud nine. I remember saying to myself, I'm never gonna have a bad day again. That moment when Josh called me and said, I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide football player, in my head, I'm like, nothing bad could ever happen to me from this moment on. This is the greatest moment of my life. And I couldn't believe it. It was
more than when I was born.
And so it was more than you were born.
Yeah,
I was like, this is the greatest moment.
Campers.
This was the greatest moment that I could possibly do. It was a combination of my son and my favorite college football team. It was insane. I've been a fan of that team since I was 12 years old. And all of a sudden, my son's a quarterback at Alabama. It was insane to me that this was happening. And so, we went along through the ride. Josh graduates college. Everything's fantastic. And then it was weird. 2017, we're in December. And I said to myself, what do I want to change about my life? What do I want more for me? And it's the one thing Josh will criticize me for. I don't travel enough. I don't go out enough. I don't experience enough life. But Josh uses the phrase, you never regret the day you stayed home, or nobody remembers the day you stayed home, is what his exact quote is. And I said, I'm gonna go to everything. Every time I get invited out, I'm going. Every time I get a chance to travel, I'm going to travel. I'm going to do everything that I haven't been doing because I've been putting so many kids, first. And a lot of times I spend my summers trying to get kids scholarships. I spend most of my free time trying to get kids that, we aren't related to, scholarships to make their lives easier, and have had a lot of success doing it. But I was like, now is the time for me. My kids are getting older. I want to go through this process. So December, we have it set up. We're going to throw a huge New Year's Eve party at my house, and I'm working the Charger Raiders game in Los Angeles that day. And as soon as the game's over, man, I got to get back to San Diego as fast as I can because I have so many people that will be at my house. They're going to beat me to my house for my party that I'm throwing. And I pick up the phone. If I start tearing up, I pick up the phone and I call my mother, and I'm talking to my mom all the way back from San Diego to LA. And my mom answers the phone. My dad's in the car, and my dad doesn't say a word the entire time. And my dad was one of those guys where it's hit and miss. You call him, he wouldn't answer the phone, or I'll call you back, or I have to go. He would just wouldn't talk. And so the relationship wasn't close to what Josh and I have. And so you go when we have the party, we talk all the way back, have the party, great times with the people that we love the most. And then the next day, phone rings, and it's Josh is, right there basically in the room with me. We're watching the Rose Bowl, and my mom calls and says my dad killed himself. And this is first day 2018. My dad shot himself. And that was tough. That was all of a sudden things changed. You immediately feel bad for, your mom. My sister lives there, and, we're making arrangements to get back to Tennessee. And the story is, my dad has been fighting cancer from age 50 to 74, and he went through prostate cancer, then it was kidney cancer, then it was bone cancer, and finally it was brain cancer. And he just was like, I don't want to deteriorate without knowing what's going on with my brain. And he was enough. And so he, walked into his bedroom, basically pulled a gun out and shot himself. And that was devastating for all of us, for Josh too. And for a long time, I was upset for 6 months, not just the fact my dad died and died that way without saying goodbye to me, because I had to go back and look at my text message and realize him and I hadn't spoken for the last couple months at least. Was there was no closure. Like he never gave me closure. So I was extremely upset. And I remember in June driving out to Arizona by myself, middle of nowhere. And I was like, I'm not going to let this affect the rest of my life. I'm not going to, well, it did for a little bit. I mean, and this is all in the same year in 2018. And so, and right when I'm at peace with, my dad did what he did. The relationship was what it was. I'm the best dad I can be. I'm going to be fine. Right after that, 2 months later, my younger son, Jake, dies. And that was a whole nother level, and when, Nicole, is having a parent die, when a friend dies, with a cousin dies, a grandmother dies, all those hurt really bad. When a parent dies, it is such a different level of grief that you just, it's part of life, but at the same time, it is so heavy. When people say to you, I'm so sorry for your loss, it doesn't do a dent into what you're feeling. And then when your child dies, it is completely another story. And so for the people who don't understand, we share Jake's story. Josh and I share Jake's story a lot because we're doing things in Jake's name. My younger son, Jake, was obviously he was a really good athlete too, but he fought depression, and he fought depression through high school, and he attempted suicide twice. And there was a time where I thought, if Jake died from suicide, it wouldn't surprise any of us. But when Jake finished high school and he started doing really well in his last year of life, from age 19 to 20, he died right after he turned 20. He said, I want to give back. I want to be more like, do what I do. He wants to give his time to kids, and he was helping kids do the same thing, play baseball and hopefully earn scholarships. And there are kids he coached that do have scholarships now and are doing really well in the connection to Jake. And Jake and I used to talk all the time about, how important, he is to this community. And he would speak at suicide prevention walks, and he was winning. At the end of his life, Jake spent his last year doing really good things for the community and for himself. And he was lifting weights, and he looked good, and he lost weight, and he was really, really doing well. What happened was Jake went through a series of a bad day, and someone through Instagram offered Jake a Xanax pill and said, this will get you through. And Jake went and got his Xanax pill from someone who delivered it to my house. Jake never met the person before, and the Xanax pill had specks of fentanyl on it. And Jake took fentanyl on October 30th of 2018. Sorry, he was 20 years old. And while he was playing video games with his friends, talking, through his headphones, his heart just stopped. He'd stopped breathing, and it killed him. And that was the day. That was the day where, our lives changed forever, for his mom, for me. That's where, nothing ever, I think, will bounce back from there. You look for the things that are the positives, and yeah, you win certain days, but Nicole, it's the first thing you think about every time your alarm goes off or you wake up in the morning. It's the last thing you think about. It's my, I sleep, 4 hours a night or 3 hours a night because I just can't sleep. I walk the house all the time. It's just one of those things you can't turn your head off, and you break out crying every day, every single day. Just, you never come close to getting over it. Losing a child has been absolutely terrible. You reached out to me actually through social media when it happened, and I think that's when, our friendship, became different. Not just someone that you knew or someone that's been a guest on my show before, but you reaching out meant a lot to me. I'll never forget it. And so I know you said to me, I don't know what to say, but the fact that you cared enough to even take time to reach out to me meant a lot. Kind of like what Jeremy Jackson said, you made a difference, and it made a difference to me. The people that reached out to me made a difference. The interesting thing about Jake, I'll say, is because he had a big heart, and everything we do, when we think about him all the time, and which, I mean, all the time, is he had a big heart, but Jake and I always thought, Jake always told me, he goes, Dad, nobody cares about me. I could die tomorrow and nobody would care. And I would say, Jake, that's not true. He goes, nobody would even show up to my funeral. So Jake and I had an agreement where because it was assumed the dad's going to die. We were both Dodger fans. We said, look, Jake, when I pass away, I want you to take my ashes and run out on the field at Dodger Stadium, and I want you to dump them. And I'm going to leave money behind to get you out of jail because you're getting arrested. 100%. You're getting arrested out of this thing. And I go, I know Josh won't do it for me, so you're gonna have to follow through. And he goes, all right, I'll do it. And so we'd have these conversations because Josh is a Padre fan. And I go, he goes, I got it. Well, that first Father's Day, after Jake passed, we go to Los Angeles, Josh, his mom, and me, and the Dodgers are playing the Cubs, and the Dodgers did something I've never seen them do before. They did a thing where you could play catch with your kid on the field. Now we get to Dodger Stadium and it is sold out. I mean, I'm talking 55,000 people, not one empty seat in the house, but the seat next to me is open. And I brought Jake's stuff and I said, can I put my son's stuff on this seat? He would have been here with me. And Jake always on his birthday, always said, you got to take him to Dodger Stadium. It was his favorite place. And so I said, is anyone sitting here? And the person said, no, nobody's sitting here. And so I put his stuff there and I turned the person next to me and said, my son just passed away. And it's crazy that you look around the stadium. This is the only empty seat in the house. And it's right next to me. And Josh and I go out after the game and we play catch on the field. And we're the last ones out there. And I had Jake's ashes in my pocket. And I, bent over like I was tying my shoes and I jumped Jake's ashes on the field at Dodger Stadium.
Oh, you did.
And completely illegal, but nobody saw me do it. And then when we're walking out, Nicole, the sprinklers came on. So they couldn't get them off. So Jake's ashes are right there behind shortstop and left field forever. And so it was a really special moment, cool moment. But at Jake's funeral, which Jake would have been impressed by, it was packed. I mean, it was shocking how big it was. It was like it was held down the street at like one of those big mega churches just because we didn't know where to have the funeral. And guess what? There are people there from the Dodgers. There are people there from the Padres. Alabama sent a bunch of stuff. And the celebrities that showed up and the people that showed up and all the kids wearing their California Bears jerseys in the crowd, these little kids that Jake coached, was amazing. The turnout, Jake would have been completely shocked by what happened. And so
would he be shocked or
I think he literally told me that nobody loved him and nobody would care. And the turnout on a Sunday night was absolutely amazing. And the people that, obviously spoke and loved him and everything else that we went through was outstanding. What we did, though, we started a couple things up. And Josh and I were trying to remember Jake's, legacy, because as a parent, I'll be honest with you, my biggest fear as his dad is that people are going to forget Jake existed. And so we created, JP25 Media, which, this platform runs on, and the JP's for Jake Palet, and the 25 was Jake's number.
Everybody follow it, please.
I appreciate it.
Already follow it.
Yeah. And we do, Jake wore 25 because Josh was his hero. I might've been his dad, but his older brother was his hero. And he wore 25 because Josh wore 25. And that was his baseball number, and Jake wore it in baseball as well. And so even the high school I coach at now, the number's unofficially retired. I won't let anybody wear it, but we honor Jake at the baseball field and everything else. And so we did a couple things. We did, Josh and I did so if you ever go to the JP25 site, Josh and I do a show called Good Chatter, and we finish it every day with Jake's stories. And the stories are extremely funny because Jake was a goofball. He wanted to be a stand-up comedian, and he was hilarious. He was the funniest guy, also the most loving guy, just a big guy, gave you these great bear hugs. And we have a nonprofit called Jake's Projects, and you can go to jakesprojects.org to check it out. But the money raised for Jake's Project goes to kids who want to follow their dream of being an athlete. And it doesn't have to be a male. It could be a female. It could be any sport, but we want to make life easier. We don't want someone who wants to chase their dreams, basically, not being able to follow through because they can't afford it. And so the money raised for Jake's Projects in his name is right there. So it's been a lot. It's been a hard 5-6 years, 5 years, I guess, since he passed, coming up in October. And
in 5 years.
I
I will say something to you. it was like something that I looked at you and I knew you were a friend and I knew we were friends. And when this happened, I just was this moment of like, I cannot imagine. Like, I honestly can't imagine. I just can't. And I just
Yeah.
like, it brings me to tears every single time. I can't imagine. And this isn't about me. This is about you and your family. And all I do is think about like, what if this was me and my girls? Like, how is it? And, you've come through this with such integrity and such a positive message. And you've been so like productive and it's honorable.
I appreciate that. I do. To be honest with you, getting up every day is hard. Josh, who you can see right there on the screen, is the reason I keep going. You
Yeah.
know, and as a parent, I'll say to anybody who just listen to this story and you with your two daughters, don't think about it too much, because you think about it too much, it's too devastating, too scary. It's the scariest possible thing that you can go through. So I would say, don't waste your energy. Waste your energy and love with your child, and appreciate every moment. But yeah, having Josh has been great. And when this happened, Josh, stayed back. He came back to the house, and he stayed here for 3 years. His mom needed him. I need him. Josh makes a point to be here in San Diego every time it's his brother's birthday. Him and his brother's birthdays are only a few days apart, and Josh is always there. And Josh has been the best for all of us. But I'll be honest with you, it's terrible every night. My wife doesn't know, and I mean, she's heard me talk about it in court. I brought it up, but my wife cries in the middle of her sleep on a regular basis. She misses her son. It's the balance is off. And having a daughter who's out of town, that when your daughter comes back to town, it feels like the house is balanced, right?
Yeah.
And that it's never, for us, it's never going to be that 4, but the balance is never going to be the same. There's a big point of me, and I had to put pressure on my son, but when he has his first child, I hope that brings a little bit more balance back to me, and that's like
being a granddad, like being a grandpa.
Yes, yeah. When that day happens, I'll be the happiest guy
Gosh,
going.
get to work.
Yeah.
No,
Soon.
it's funny that you say that, because I say it to my daughter, and she's like, it's never going to happen. Like, I'm not, they didn't have the best like male figures in their life.
Yeah.
So my daughter feels like she doesn't want to have children because she doesn't want to put them through the same thing. But Josh, have babies. Josh, do everybody a favor. Do your mom a favor. Have babies.
I will. A couple years, you'll see that. I just want to say a couple things about what my dad just said. I can't even imagine how tough it's been for him. But for my mom, I mean, it's something you never want to see as a son. I mean, it's the toughest thing. I mean, I saw my brother's body, when he passed, and it's something I think about time to time, and I try not to think about it, but also don't live scared. Like my dad said, you can't walk out of your house thinking something bad's going to happen. So you should be positive no matter what, and just love others. If somebody's going through struggles like my brother went through, be a sounding board for them. Sometimes they don't need to be told what to do. You just need to listen to what they have to say. And I think a lot of people, we all struggle on different levels, but just be there to listen to somebody. And we listen to my brother, and we try to help him in every way we could. But, God had other plans. Just make sure you're there for the people that hurt. That's what I have to say.
Yeah,
that's everything. That's everything right there.
Yeah, you never know what people are going through. Even the people that lash out on social media who aren't always kind, I find a lot of times those are the ones who write me privately who are going through it the worst. It's weird. It's human behavior is very strange.
Conversation. I think we had a weird conversation where a woman who was like dying of cancer and was dying on her deathbed, and she still hate tweeting me and still hate messaging me and saying really horrible things to me. And I was like, oh my God, like, isn't there something more? There's got to be something more for you. And there wasn't for her. Like, her hate for me took over everything. And it made me realize, like, oh my God, like, this is a real thing. It's a real thing.
I mean, you got to think. You can't think everyone has the same sense that you have. You know what I mean? and you might have a good heart and they don't. And some people just want to, go out angry, but it's very strange. But when you see some of the people that have been at least, gone after me, and then they write me privately, two different people going, why do you behave the way you are? Why do you come off as a jerk? Is that just what you get through every single day of just trying to hurt other people? It's very, very strange.
It is very strange. I had a man say something horrible and nasty to me online, and then he goes, well, I just wanted to see if you would react, like if you would respond to me. And I was like, and I did. And here we are. And it's like poison feeding poison. Like, what did we just do here? Why didn't you just say hi? Why didn't you just be kind?
Exactly.
But yeah, this is how life goes, I guess.
It's funny. James Corden said something when he retired last week. He was on with Howard Stern, actually, and he said it was a friend of his that said it to him, and I was just thinking, Josh was always a focused kid. I see your youngest daughter, who just has incredible energy. You go and I wish I had the energy she had. She's your daughter, and the way you photograph her, the videos you make of your daughter always seem like she's living her best life. And not everybody is able to do it. Not everyone's able to do it. But the line James Corden used was, he goes, if you're lucky enough to be born into a loving family, loving parents, loving relatives, and you have that till age 5. And he goes, then you go to school, and he goes, then school sucks the shit out of you for 18 years. And he goes, it's or 12 years to your age 18. And he goes, then you spend the next, 20 years of your life trying to prove all those people wrong that put all that on you and told you were worthless and made fun of you and goofed on you. And he goes, after 20 years, you realize every day you're just getting older and you're aging and your body's breaking down. It was so depressing the way he said it, that only the first 5 years of life are the good years. And then after that, it's extremely tough. But when I see a kid, and I spent a ton of time with kids, if I had to do my whole career all over again, Nicole, I would have been a teacher. I would have been around kids more often to see if I could make more of a difference. That's what I would have done. But for like your child, who's almost a teenager, and you go,
she literally yells at me from the shower last night, Mom, I think I need to shave my legs. And I'm like, well, this is like the beginning to an end. Okay, this is the beginning to an end of a horrible story. You're gonna hate it. And sure enough, I give her the razor. I give her like the good one. I give her the razor, and she shaves it. And today she's like, I think it already grew back. I told you. Yeah. This is life. So
it's a great age, as long as you basically keep the poison away. And that's it. You got it. As a parent, you're doing the best you can to keep the poison away and make sure they're happy and healthy is the only thing that matters, Nicole.
Yes. Is it? I mean, yeah,
it is. I mean, that's it. What's your mindset, and do you let little things beat you down, and can you recover? And that's always the problem, is when we all have friends that can't recover, that fall into corners that they just can't get out of.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's extremely tough. I mean, if you have your health and your happiness, you're good to go. What's the saying as a parent, Nicole, that you're only as happy as your most unhappy child? Right?
I don't know. Is that a thing? Okay.
I don't know. Is it for you? Let me ask you. I mean, can you have a good day if your child's having a bad day?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
No, but then again, like sometimes my kids don't even like care about my day.
No. Well, they aren't going to care about your day. You're going to care about their days. That's the maturity age.
Deeply. Yes.
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 And that's
so here we are. I'm so glad everybody got to get to know you, that doesn't already know about you, on this podcast, and your story, and like what a beautiful journey, and like what a painful, beautiful journey. So everybody definitely subscribe to the JP.
I appreciate it. It's jakesprojects.org is the charity, it's the nonprofit, and then JP Media 25.
JP 25 Media.
Sorry, JP 25 Media. At least I get it right. Sorry, my head's when I said it.
I don't feel so bad. You didn't even have it right.
I looked at Josh like, that didn't sound right at all.
No, hit it up, and let's come together as parents.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. Nicole, do you want some questions to enlighten things up a little bit? You want to pass today? A
Yeah,
little
let's
too heavy of a show? Okay, we'll pass. A little bit heavy today.
yeah.
It's a little bit heavy, but
It is heavy. Today is heavy in so many ways that I can't even start. It's so heavy. So let's leave it. And let's everybody have a great weekend if we can try to have a good weekend.
we'll have a good weekend. Dodgers are in town where I'm at in San Diego. For me, it's a big deal. Josh again is a San Diego fan. I'm an LA fan, and I don't know what it is, Nicole, but these people in San Diego, the Padre fans, don't seem to like me very much. I can't figure
They
it
don't
out.
like you very
But-
much. They don't like
I'm
you?
not. Josh is shaking his head. So here's the deal: that guy who just tried to get a reaction out of you, Nicole. That's kind of what I do on Twitter to the Padre fans. So
You're that guy?
I'm that guy, and today I'm front row behind home plate, so you're going to see me right there on TV, and so the people get really upset that I'm wearing my Dodger gear on camera for this game, and
How did you never ever meet behind home plate on Dodger Field?
I have
I'm
no.
always there.
You're always there. No, I never get there for Dodger Stadium. For Dodger Stadium, I never get it. This is Petco Park in San Diego. So yeah, and this is because I have a connection. Yeah. And so
no, I'm a Dodger Stadium fool.
Yeah, I never get taken care of that way. In the media, though, I used to sit up top with Vin Scully in that area in the press box. And the one thing when you're in the press box, Nicole, it's unlimited amount of Dodger dogs you can eat. So if you're a Dodger dog fan, as much ice cream and Dodger dogs as you want, they take care of you at Dodger Stadium. So it's unusual. Here's by the way, before we go, Nicole, since you let me kind of talk a little bit about me, the most unusual thing about me, Nicole, is two things. One is I've met everybody in my life that I've ever wanted to meet, which is very strange. That I've met every celebrity I've ever wanted to meet.
You have?
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how that's ever happened, but that's happened. And the other thing is I've been on 3 reality TV shows.
What?
That's weird.
Where are they?
Okay, I was on the TV show Blind Date. Do you remember that show, Blind Date?
Of course. What did you do? You went on a blind date?
No, I didn't. The date, they wrote it out. The producers wrote it out where the people dating had to go on my radio show. That was one of the. Remember, they used to do 3 things, and they were filming in San Diego, and they had to come on my radio show. I was on the TV show Bar Rescue, as I was the guy that was Mike.
Bar Rescue is like one of my all-time favorite.
You gotta look. You gotta look for me when they're down in San Diego. And I had the mic on, and so I was playing a customer, but I had a mic on, and the bartenders didn't know I was mic'd up.
You better send
and
me.
then the other one, which is crazy, was on Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. Okay, do you remember the Gene Simmons show?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Gene Simmons comes to meet the Kiss Army down here in San Diego, which cracks me up. And there are a ton of people in this room. And it's like 2 sides full. It's like 200 people on each side. And the producer gets up and he goes, look, Gene's going to come out. He's going to answer questions. Just put your hand up if you have a question. We'll go to you if we can. And he says, nobody ask any questions about Paul Stanley, who Gene started the group with. Paul had a heart attack last night, and we don't know when this airs if Paul's going to be alive. Whatever you do not ask Paul Stanley question. And everyone's like, all right. Everyone feels horribly bad. I mean, this is a guy that didn't Kiss Army. And so I'm sitting like 5 rows back on the right side. My radio partner, Jeff's in the front row with his brother on the left side. And the producer walks off the stage and walks right by me and whispers in my ear, hey, just in case Paul Stanley's okay, ask a Paul Stanley question. And so I'm like, all right, and so sure enough, man, I raised my hand and Gene's like, all right, you. And I said, hey, Gene, you and Paul started to kiss up. Can you talk about what Paul means to the group? And man, my buddy in the front stands up and goes, get him. He yells, get him. And the whole room stood up and chased me to my car. Like I'm running to my car, trying to get my keys out of my front pocket and jump in. It was ridiculous. Like 200 people trying to kick the shit out of me.
You punk. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was the biggest setup of all time. It was terrible. And but that was the 3 times I've been on reality TV. So it's a weird life.
We love you.
Here I am sitting with you. It's crazy.
This is why we love you. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Nicole, thank you very much. I appreciate you let me talk a little bit. And it was great seeing Josh. There you go.
Thanks for letting me on. Appreciate that.
Josh is our MVP.
Thank you. It's very nice.
I mean,
That's awesome.
you are.
Appreciate it.
No lies. Where's the lie? All right. I love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too. Bye, Nicole.
See you next week.